Blesta 5.10 is now available. You can download and install or upgrade right now. Let's take a brief look at some of the new features. We continue to make improvements to the domain manager. This update includes the ability for staff to change the registrar for a domain internally in Blesta. This is useful if you transfer the domain outside of Blesta or if you imported your domains and need to assign them to the right registrar. It's important to note that changing the registrar associated with a domain will not transfer it to that registrar. To change the registrar, select the domain and choose Change Registrar, then select the desired registrar. The Domains widget has received some performance improvements as well. Domain registrar modules take a lot of time to write, but we continue to add support for more registrars. In 5.10, we added support for Nominet, the official registry for UK domains. We also added a powerful new plugin for webhooks. Once installed, visit Tools, Webhooks to create incoming and outgoing webhooks. Incoming webhooks work hand in hand with a custom plugin that creates its own events. While any event can be selected for an incoming webhook, you should create and use an event as part of your own plugin. Outgoing webhooks work by sending data to a URL you specify when an event is triggered. For demo purposes, we'll use webhook.site to test an outgoing webhook. We'll create an outgoing webhook with a callback URL provided by this test site, webhook.site. We want to notify our endpoint when we create or edit a note for a client. Let's say we want to keep a copy of notes in some external system. We'll make this a post request and send JSON formatted data. Now, if we create or edit a note for a client, the data is received by our endpoint. You can also map fields. As an example, vars.title contains the subject of our note. But if we want that to be displayed simply as subject, we can map the field, and it comes across as subject. It's a good idea to do some testing with something like webhook.site, inspect the data, and then map the data to the fields expected by your endpoint, or build your endpoint to expect what Blesta is sending. If you import support tickets using POP or IMAP, and you set your cron to run every minute, you can now poll for tickets every minute instead of every 5 minutes. Visit Settings, Company, Automation, and select 1 minute for the interval for download tickets. It's also possible to limit priority by department. Under Settings, Departments, you can choose available priorities. While emergency might be a valid priority for a support department, you might not want to allow emergency to be selected for your billing department. The Import Manager was updated to include new mapping files for enum and name silo so that those are mapped to Blesta correctly when importing from WHMCS. Additionally, parameters may be provided to the CLI importer to script the entire import. Blesta now ships with 17 additional languages, 18 including English. Besides English, Blesta now supports Indonesian, Italian, Swedish, Greek, Chinese, Danish, Portuguese, Dutch, Russian, French, Czech, Turkish, Polish, Spanish, Romanian, German, and Ukrainian. Languages are machine translated and are available on our GitHub if you would like to fork the repository and make your own changes. We use DeepL to generate complete translations for Blesta, and these are provided as a best effort. When creating or editing packages, it's now possible to set a term and price to be selected by default. If I create a 1 month and a 1 year term and I want 1 year to be selected by default, I can set it to default on the package. Then, when visiting an order form, the 1-year price is selected by default. You can now include your own attachments with any email template. Just visit Settings, Company, Emails, edit an email template, and drag and drop or select your files. Many people need to include additional attachments on an invoice or another email. Service and domain counts are now available via data feeds. We added a filter option for coupons. It's now possible to filter by code, discount type, currency, package group, status, or whether the coupon is for internal use only. Quickly find the coupon you're looking for without having to search page by page. Quantity config options will now show a number format field in addition to the slider, making it easier to specify the exact number desired. The CLI installer can now be fully scripted. It's possible to include the staff's username, email, password, the domain, and even the license key in a single command, allowing complete installation by CLI. There's more in 5.10, so be sure to check out the changelog and, of course, download and upgrade today. Development for the next release is well underway, and if there's something in particular you want to see in a future release, please submit a feature request at request.blesta.com. And don't forget to stop by and say hello on our Discord server. We'd love to chat. Lately, we've been having a hangout on Friday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and we'd love to have you join us. All right, thanks for watching.